Viktor Gyökeres has agreed a contract with Arsenal for a region of £8 million a season. Court Offside have come out with an update regarding that. Football Insider have also said Viktor Gyökeres is very happy to join the North London club. Fabrizio Romano has said that Manchester City are willing to spend £50 million on Reijnders, and Fabrizio Romano has also given a here we go to Dean Huijsen. He is a Real Madrid player. Both Real Madrid and Bournemouth's social media accounts, Twitter accounts, Instagram accounts have come out and confirmed the transfer, as well as Mikel Arteta has given the green light to Rodrygo. We have got so much to get into. Make sure you go down, butcher this like button. Let me know your thoughts on every single transfer story. Watch the video the entire way through so you don't miss anything. And of course, get your comments in down below. Before anyone says, I am the messenger, I'm just giving my opinion on reports. Let me know your thoughts. We just hit 53K. The road to 60K is well and truly on. We're only 7K away from hitting the big 6-0. The road to 100K is well and truly on. We're pushing 53.1K now. We're going to start with Fabrizio Romano coming out yesterday, 20 hours ago. I actually didn't see this on yesterday's transfer update, saying Manchester City are preparing to spend 50 million euros to sign Tijani Reijnders, or Reijnders. Sorry, not Reijnders. Now, Reijnders is a very, very good player at AC Milan. You know, part of that team that did lose the Coppa Italia recently. His record for Milan is very, very good. The more I think about it, the more I do think him in the midfield, potentially with Florian Wirtz and Rodri, would probably be the best Premier League midfield out there. His record at AC Milan, 102 games, 19 goals and 9 assists for an attacking midfielder is pretty good. With Champions League, Europa League experience, he's won trophies as well in his career. I do think, looking at his contract situation, you know, it runs out June 30th. It's not going to be cheap. He can play DM, he can play attacking midfield, he can play central midfield. He ticks all of the boxes for Manchester City. And you also think, you know, you put him, Omar Mamouche, Rodri, potentially Florian Wirtz, Erling Haaland, Foden, Savinho, Doku. All of a sudden, Bernardo Silva, Manchester City are back to where they want to be. And of course, they do play later today in an FA Cup final up against Crystal Palace. But I honestly believe that when you add him in to these sort of players they're being linked with, look, he's going to come in my opinion, if he does join Manchester City, which I do think he will, because they want to get their business done because of the Club World Cup starts soon. He will be an unbelievable signing for them. Unbelievable signing. Represents the national team for Netherlands as well. You know, ticks all of the boxes from a creative perspective as well. So, yeah, so let me know your thoughts down below. Now, Football Insider as well as Court Offside have come out and said Viktor Gyökeres is happy to sign for Arsenal. Get the deal done. Peter O'Rourke, the transfer correspondent, has said Arsenal have been given the green light to sign Viktor Gyökeres from Sporting, with both parties keen on the move. Sources have told Football Insider. This was this morning. Speaking on the latest edition of Football Insider's track podcast, senior correspondent Peter O'Rourke revealed what sources have told him about the progress of Arsenal's effort to sign a striker. He then goes on to say the Gunners' new sporting director, Andrea Berta, talks are advancing with Gyokeres representatives. It then goes on to say Sporting are willing to sell the 52-goal striker for 60 million, despite Gyokeres' contract, including an 85 million release clause. Sources have told Football Insider, as well as Court Offside have also put out practically the same thing, suggesting that Viktor Gyökeres has agreed a contract with Arsenal. Now, you know, it's going to be very interesting to see how early on they sign Gyökeres. I do think this is happening. You know, they put out about 1 day ago saying Arsenal are closing in on a 5-year deal for Viktor Gyökeres. You know, Court Offside said they're now at advanced stage with the negotiation of around £9 million a year for his contract. And he's also come out, Court Offside have also come out and said that they are closing in. Viktor Gyökeres is on Arsenal's radar. Court Offside understand the Gunners are now at advanced stage of the negotiations for Gyökeres, having offered him a 5-year contract worth £9 million a year. However, even if Arsenal remain favourites to sign the Sweden international, there are also a very strong interest from Manchester United and Liverpool. I think Liverpool want to go all out and play Florian Wirtz in a false nine if they get him as kind of the Bobby Firmino thing. I think even if Manchester United do beat Spurs in the Europa League and get that extra revenue for the Champions League football, I think Arsenal at the stage they're at in their Premier League season in terms of challenging for league titles, as big of a football club as Man United are, as great as they are, and potentially in the same competition next season, I think Arsenal are further along the line of their project of pretty much win now. They need to bring in win now players, and that is exactly what Viktor Gyökeres is. He is genuinely a game changer for a striker. He comes in and scores. I think he comes in and scores 20 league goals quite comfortably. You look at his ability, his output in Europe, his output in the league. Like, genuinely, it is absolutely ridiculous. Now, L'Equipe, we'll come back to Viktor Gyökeres in a second. Jonathan David, an interesting one, a name that all Tottenham fans are familiar with hearing window after window after window. Jonathan David is in talks with several European clubs over a free transfer: Juventus, Napoli, Tottenham, and Aston Villa. Now, if he joins Aston Villa, I do think that will be the Ollie Watkins replacement. I don't think personally he joins Juventus unless Dusan Vlahovic goes. And I also think Juventus may go in for Moise Kean. He's having an unbelievable season at, of course, Fiorentina. I know he's an ex-Juventus player, but they may go back in for him. And Napoli is where he could end up at. Napoli or Spurs. Now, I think he joins Spurs if we win the Europa League and get into the Champions League. And, of course, Richarlison isn't on the radar for a few of the Saudi clubs. Plus, you look at what he has done, on the national front. That they like that. They like a lot of the Brazilian players over there. In terms of Jonathan David, though, I think he's one of the most disrespected strikers in Europe. This season, 16 goals and 5 assists. Last season, 19 goals and 4 assists. The season before, 24 goals and 4 assists. The season before that, 15 goals. Season before that, 15 goals. This season, 9 goals, 4 assists in 14 in the Champions League. 25, played at the World Cup, played in the Champions League, won league titles with Lille. I think he's so disrespected on a free transfer. Like, don't get me wrong, the signing on fee and the agent fee is probably going to be very, very high. But he is a top player. He really, really is. One that's going to be interesting is Ademola Lookman has got admirers for a lot of different Premier League clubs. The Sun have put out a report saying Ademola Lookman has admirers at Arsenal, but there are some hesitations over a move. I think, as great as he is, I think that is a bit of a gamble. A lot of his career, it hasn't really worked out. He didn't really do much at Fulham, didn't really do much at Leicester, went to the Bundesliga, did okay, and he's kind of found a home in Italy. I think maybe one of the Italian clubs, I could see Juventus or Inter Milan going in for him. It wouldn't surprise me. I think Arsenal need that kind of next step up of player. The Nico Williams is, the Viktor Gyökeres, those sorts of players. As great as he is and as good as ability he has got, I just think they need, just one step higher in terms of quality. Man United or Spurs, though, I think he could quite easily do a very, very good job for them. Chelsea are interested in signing Mark Gahey, a familiar name than what Chelsea fans have all heard, as well as Jared Brandthwaite. You haven't really heard much in terms of a transfer front from Jared Brandthwaite since the summer. Of course, Manchester United were heavy favourites to go out and signing. They wanted to spend 70, 80 million pounds. They ended up signing Lenny Yoro from France. I think Gahey, ticks a lot of the boxes for Chelsea. Homegrown, knows the club, Premier League proven, played on the international stage for England, is a very, very, very good centre-back, can play left-sided centre-back, can play right side. Out of the two, I know Gahey's younger, but if I'm Chelsea, I think they need a a good centre-back, good goalkeeper, and a good number 9. And they're not a million miles away from challenging, you know. And I do think Mark Gahey has the ability to come into a Chelsea team. You know, you look at that midfield of Lavia, Caicedo, Cole Palmer. You bring in a good number 9. You bring in a good centre-back next to Gahey and a goalkeeper. And they're pretty much there. You know, that, you know, if they went out hypothetically and got a Gyokeres, you know, we'd be sitting here right now saying all Chelsea need is a goalkeeper and a centre-back. And I do believe Gahey's got the ability. Speaking of centre-backs, Fabrizio Romano, here we go. Dean Huijsen has now signed his Real Madrid contract. He will be ready to play for the Club World Cup. And what a signing that is. He is going to be a star. I'm telling you guys, for absolute free, he is going to be unreal. I've never seen a centre-back at that age. Well, I say never seen. I have. I've not seen a centre-back recently with the passing ability he's got. He's very, very good in the air. He's very quick. He's defensive ability is very strong. You could put him alongside of Asensio at Real Madrid or Rodrygo or Alaba. You know, Real Madrid, I do think that they still have Saliba on their radar. But right now, that is a very, very, very good signing for them. You know, Chelsea and Liverpool are still interested in centre-backs. And, of course, they were absolutely there all the way to the very, very end. David Ornstein came out yesterday and said that, you know, they were really, really pushing for him, Real Madrid, and that was his preferred destination. You know, Jeremy Frimpong, it's pretty much there or thereabouts. I imagine we'll get the here we go at some point over this weekend for him to join Liverpool. Now, make sure you go down and let me know your thoughts on all the stories we've discussed. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. I am out.